What's good? What's good? Welcome back. Real Talk the Show. Your host, L. Robinson. What the hell are we going to talk about today? Let's start from the beginning. Let's talk about rules. Okay? Rules, laws, standard operational procedures. You know, the list goes on. But my real question to you is when these laws or rules or standards of operational procedures are written up, do they count for everybody that they are supposed to count for? Is there a separation between the laws? You know, are the laws being rewritten just to give a false sense of security to one group and to basically diminish or downtrod another group? I don't know. Like I said in a previous episode of Real Talk the Show, I find it very disturbing how people of color are affected by the rules. Rules means that the same rules should apply to everyone. If you're playing Monopoly, okay, there's a set of rules. There's different rules, but everybody usually comes to an agreement and says, these are the rules that we are going to follow. Okay? That doesn't mean that because somebody is going broke, that they go to the bank and take out what they need to get them through the next term. That is breaking the rules, right? I mean, we can all agree on this here, right? Okay. When rules are set in the workplace, let's say, you know, the rule is you cannot be more than 5 minutes late getting to your desk. That's a rule, right? You would think that rule would affect everybody, right or wrong, okay? I don't see any place where that rule saying you should be at your desk no later than 5 minutes past your start time to just mean a certain group of people or a certain demographic of people. Okay? If you're in school, let's say you're in first grade, if the teacher says that during the teaching of math, everyone must sit in their seat and be quiet, that rule should account for everybody except, sans, the teacher. I'm thinking I'm on the same path here. That doesn't mean that Sally Sue, who just feels a little antsy, should get up and go chat with Jennifer J. That's not what the rule is for, you know. It seems strange when we discuss rules and laws and standards of operational procedures in this country, how it always seems to become, this is my set of rules and this is your set of rules. If you've read my book, The Ghetto Survival Guide for Blacks and Latinos, you know I talk about this whole hospital dress code as far as braids is concerned. This is one of those things that I see to be kind of a racial rule. Until now. Now everybody kind of dresses the same. They do their hair the same. You know, white girls want to look black and crazy black girls want to look white. You know, I mean, so it's kind of, you know, one of those things where everything, you know, gets kind of, it needs to be rewritten. Okay? However, I'm quite sure that if a supervisor or administrator or manager wants to make your life just a little bit unhappy, I'm quite sure that rule will all of a sudden hold true. That's the strange thing. That's one of the things, I mean, that's why I think I'm upset about the whole Obama thing, is because now it's becoming more and more and more blatant. I mean, and this is not something that I'm making up. This is not something that I'm pulling out the crack of my butt, and because I need to produce a show and get a show out there, I'm going to talk about something that's not real or relevant. This is real and relevant, okay? Be it dealing with law enforcement, be it dealing with the workplace, dealing with school, dealing with banking institutions. There seems to be a separate set of rules. There's the set for those of color, and there's the set for those who are of European descent. I'm lying? You watch the news, okay? Let's take, for example, there's some kind of disorder in an affluent community. By affluent, I mean average household income is $100,000 or more per year, okay? The cops drive up, knock on people's doors, ask is there a problem, and 9 times out of 10, they sit down, they write their report, and they go home, okay? And a predominantly black or Latin community, I don't know, it's kind of different. It's kind of different. Because before they get out the car, usually the guns and the billy clubs have been drawn. Okay? So we're coming out with a whole attitude of not stopping disorder, but creating more havoc and disorder. Okay? When you look at rules as they're set forth, again, I refer back to Animal Farm. I don't know what made me read that book in 3rd grade, but that book has stayed in the back of my brain, okay, for as long as I can remember. And if you haven't read it yet, please run out and I want to sell my book, but George Orwell's Animal Farm has so much to say about today's world, it's not funny. Because I'm starting to find out that the rules do change, okay? My main viewpoint as far as work and living in my community and doing what I need to do is just that. I need to do what I need to do and end the day. Okay? I've never been one to take part in office politics because I saw at an early time in my career that office politics for black people really does not work. It doesn't. Okay? Because when all the smoke is cleared, and if you're in a predominantly white office, guess who gets to go? It happens every time. And if you're white and you're watching this, okay, you know that I'm telling the truth. Okay? You know exactly what I'm saying. Okay? The new rule is there is no rules. Okay? In the workplace, there are no rules. Okay? That is the new rule. That little thing that you sign when you accept the job basically says, and any and or duties that we can come up with. Okay, that's kind of a blanket rule basically saying that somebody threw up in the bathroom and the maintenance man is not here and you're not doing shit. Could you please go clean that up? That's what that rule basically means. Okay, if you choose to stand up for yourself, or as Dave Chappelle perfectly illustrated in his Keeping It Real episode, what's going to happen? You already know what's going to happen. They're going to say thank you very much, and you're going to be walked out the door. Okay? But let's put some positive spin on this. Because at the end of the day, and I got to stop saying that, at the end of the day, what happens is you really have to rise above. Okay? Because, like I said in my first book, you go in there, person A decides that they're going to do an animal farm, change the rules right in front of your face, and decide that you're the bad guy. More than likely, you're going to bristle. Okay? You're going to have a few choice words. They're going to have a few choice words. And, well, we know what happens next. But you know what happens when they call the police. You know whose fault it is, right? See, that's the problem. That's the problem. This world is becoming more and more of do as I say, not as I do. Especially if you're a person of color. And again, this is not pulling a race card. This is reality. Like I said, look at the news. Watch the news. If you think I'm lying, just sit down in front of the news for an hour. Okay? And what I want you to do is, I want you to look at how law enforcement deals with people of color versus people of European descent. Okay? And you tell me that there's not this huge discrepancy. Okay? Same thing in the workplace. Look at your workplace. Okay? If you're like most workplaces, predominantly European based, with a sprinkling of what I like to call the flies in the milk, okay? The rules change. The rules change to fit what your employer needs from you. Okay? But see, here's the drift. Here's the drill. Here's the way we get around it. Okay? And if you got to break out a pen and a pencil, I want you to take this note. Okay? At the end of the day, you do not let anyone force you out of position. Okay? Just like chess. You don't let anyone force you out of position. Because at the end of the day, guess what? All they're going to do is be like, we finally got that, you know what the word is, out of here. Okay? And they're probably going to have an office party, bring in coffee and donuts and bagels because they have succeeded in what they set out to do. Now, granted, not every job is like this. Okay? Not every law enforcement official is out to smash heads. Okay? Not every judge has this thing where, you know what, if I can get you out my face for 10 years, it's a good day. Not every judge has that feeling. Okay? It's just that we're running into a whole lot of them. We've reached this era where we're running into a whole lot of drama for no reason. You know, and it's getting harder to take the feelings of anger, which may be valid. You may be angry. But like I said in my book, I have actually watched two white co-workers almost come to blows where they were taken into an office. It was mediated. They shook hands, okay, and back to work as usual. However, I have seen, and I wrote this in my book, I have seen two black people just raise their voices and curse at each other and have been escorted out the building. In the military, I worked a department called Alcohol Rehab Service. That's what I spent most of my time in the Navy doing. Okay? Alcohol rehab is basically you have some sort of alcohol or substance abuse related problem. Okay? And this is what the Navy basically does is they look at your record, they look at what it is that you do for the Navy, and they make a judgment call right there. You know, they say to themselves, well, I'm not going to drum this person out of the military with a bad conduct discharge. This person, if he can get through this whole abuse of be it drugs or alcohol, he can still become an important part of the naval machine. Okay. The only thing with it is that, you know, I knew people that could have benefited from the services that ARS offered that never were given a chance. And for the most part, were good sailors. Did the job, was never late for muster, was never UA, you know, did their job to perfection. Their problem was they had a substance abuse problem. Okay, now, granted, the Navy, all armed forces do state zero tolerance. Okay, that's the rule. Okay, but then again, we come back to the beginning of this whole thing. Are the rules for everyone? Okay, most of the clients that came to alcohol rehab were indeed white. They were indeed of European descent. Okay, most of the people that I knew personally that got drummed out for misconduct or basically dishonorable discharges at times were people of color. Again, the rules, you know, you figure the rules should fit for everyone. If you are speeding, okay, if you're on a highway and there's 4 lanes and all 4 cars are doing a $120 going down those lanes, why should I be singled out? I have actually been in circumstances where I have been singled out for only, and I can only assume this because it's never said, because of the color of my skin. 116th Street, Rockaway. Everybody knows that little sandbar over there. Okay, if you're familiar with it. Okay, people since I've been 12 years old, that sandbar has been open. It's been an unspoken rule: as long as you're in front of the sandbar, you may drink your alcoholic beverage. One Saturday afternoon, it's a little overcast, so the beach is not crowded. Me and one of my friends, we go inside. We get a beer each. We're sitting down. We're drinking our beer. We're talking. Needless to say, there's three European guys a little bit further down from us on the next bench, sitting down talking. Cops come by and tell me and my friend that we need to produce ID. Being polite, we say, "Is there a problem, officer?" "What? You're drinking in a public place." "Officer, everybody drink. They're drinking here." To which the officer said, "No, nobody else is drinking here, and they would be stupid if they would continue to drink here." So, again, the rules only fit for me and my friend, who is black also, but the three other guys get a free pass. You know, at the end of the day, it's basically a catch-22. You can't win. You really can't win. Until we make a concerted effort to change the way we are treated within our schools, our work environments, in public, okay, it becomes a vicious catch-22. I'm going to suggest something. And I'm going to suggest something that may or may not help you, and this is your choice thing. Okay? I'm going to suggest that you write down everything that happens to you. If you feel that there is a rule or a law, okay, that seems to only fit for a person of color, write it down. Write it down, fold it up, send yourself an email, CC your personal email address, whatever said, put that in there, okay? And then when it comes time to talk to your dean, your boss, the lawyer, the judge, bring that paperwork with you and tell them, "Listen, what gives here? These rules are for everybody, not just for me. Am I correct?" That leaves the judge no choice but to answer you yes or no. You see, more and more rules and laws are becoming vague. And what I mean by vague is open to interpretation. Okay? I have a thing that I have done for the last, I would say, since Windows 95, since I had an email account. Okay? Any communication that must be given to a person, be it a supervisor, manager, administrator, whatever, I put in email. Okay? Might fuck my life up because I might be angry while I'm typing it. However, it is a point of reference, because after a while, you get tired of the verbal warnings that come back to you and, "Oh, you didn't understand what I said," or, "Oh, that's not what I meant." "Oh, it wasn't that, it was this." In fact, I have at times asked my managers or my administrators, "Please send it back to me in writing." See, that way there can be no confusion. Okay? Because that's another game that, I'm not going to say the man, but that's another game that they like to play. "Oh, no, you misunderstood me. That's not what I said." Like I wrote in my book, when the nurse, the black nurse who got a verbal warning for having braids in her hair, and 6 months down the line, white nurse comes back from the Caribbean, has basically a similar design of braids in her hair. The white nurse is being oohed and ahed, while the black nurse was forced to remove these braids from her hair. Now, I'm quite sure, since it was a verbal warning and there's nothing written down on paper, it was probably just a misunderstanding. Okay? It seems like white America has so many misunderstandings. They misunderstood the whole, Native American thing. That was a misunderstanding. Slavery was a misunderstanding. Jim Crow laws, that was a misunderstanding. For some strange reason, I'm not afforded the comfort of having misunderstandings. I must always be precise. Okay, that comes with the color of my skin. I can't be vague. I can't be unsure. I can't be well, I'm kind of thinking about that. No, I've got to be with all my ducks in a row. Okay, but the other side of the coin is, oh, well, I'll get back to you. Okay, it's the same thing with our Social Security cards. Your Social Security cards were never supposed to be used as a way to identify a person. That was not their intent. Okay, there are so many subcodes built into a Social Security number that people can tell where you were born, okay, what color you are, okay, as well as a plethora of hundreds of different things all within that Social Security number. Okay, so don't think that the credit industry has decided to take a love to people of color. The rules that have been in place for years, as soon as we find out about them, oh shit, gotta go. What? You can do that and build up a good credit history? Oh, take that one off the books. Let's come up with a credit score number type thing that's going to work and it's going to make sure that we always on top. You know, again, if I go in a bank right now and steal $1 million, good chance I'm going to jail. Okay? But our friends on Wall Street, you know, and our friends that run these banks and these mortgage houses, they get to steal millions upon millions upon millions of dollars every day. And you know what? Nobody says nothing. What's the difference? What's the difference? Who has gotten jail time because of the whole mortgage scam thing? Anybody know anybody? I know a black person that was involved in it. Well, he deserved jail. He was robbing his own people. You know? But how many? I mean, come on. I'm lying. I'm making this up. You tell me how many people from this whole mortgage subprime lending thing has actually seen jail time. White collar crime means more than just having a white collar. Okay? You know, just so I don't drift, the message that I'm trying to give to the people that take the time to watch Real Talk the show is that you got to keep your head up, and it's going to be hard. There's going to be stumbling blocks, okay? There's always going to be stumbling blocks, and there's always going to be that one person that's just going to test you, okay? If it's only to say, I understand where you're coming from. No, you have no freaking clue where I'm coming from, okay? You have no concept of what my life is like being black in America. I don't care what you watch on that show that comes on, I think, CNN. I don't care what BET has told you my life is like. You don't know. You don't know what it's like to tell your children not to really hang out in bad neighborhoods or basically hang out after dark. Okay? You don't know what it's like to tell your children that maybe they shouldn't, you know, run in packs of 3 or 4 or more people because white America views that as being a gang. Okay? So, no, don't tell me you understand where I'm coming from, because the real talk is you have no clue. Okay? I sat through, I sometimes I do volunteer within my community, you know, and I'm, when I do have the chance and I have the time, I'm honored to do so, especially when I'm helping out my black youth. You know, see, that's very important. You know, just like the Obama family is saying that education is important, I believe the same thing. So if I have a skill that I can give back to the community, I try to do such. Okay? But to hear a white woman tell, as she gives her story to the audience about the badness of drugs, how she basically got caught with a huge amount of heroin. Okay? Wait, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at the person, I'm laughing at the situation. Got caught with a huge amount of heroin, did 5 years in jail, came out, and now works for the state. How the fuck did that? Somebody tell me how that happens. Tell me how you can get busted for a felony offense, okay, and be a user and work for the state because she had a hookup. Luckily, she had someone that took her under her wing. You know, the bad thing is we don't have too many of those out there to take us under their wing. So usually when we get the felony, we're assed out. Okay? This, again, is real talk. You know? So, back to the advice I thought I was giving, because sometimes I do go off on these tangents. But yeah, back to the advice that I was giving. Keep your head up. Okay? There's something that, you know, I learned from my grandmother, and I put it in my second book, which would be The Ghetto Survival Guide Presents 101 Ways to Survive These Tough Economic Times, is try again. Pick your head up. Don't let them bring you down. That's the plan. That's what they hope to achieve, to break you. They've been trying to do it since the days of slavery. Okay? And again, if you're watching this, you know, and you're taking offense because you're saying, oh, this is reverse, there's no such thing as reverse racism. Okay? No such thing. Until you give me that hand of cards that's that royal flush, then you can start claiming reverse racism. Okay? What this is a buildup of over 40 years of constant game playing. Okay? Constant, you know, pushing buttons. Okay? Until that one time when someone's got you, throttling you by the neck of your throat, and you're sitting up there saying, how did this all happen? You know damn good and well how it happened. Okay? But what I'm telling my peoples is brush that off your shoulder, because at the end of the day, all they're going to do is call cops. You're going to end up in court, and you're stuck with that same thing of explaining to the judge why you're in front of them. Okay? It's real talk. Okay? At the end of the day, if religion gets you through it, go to the bathroom, say a prayer. Okay? If at the end of the day you have a family member that, you know, seems to calm your nerves down, get up, pick up your cell phone, go outside the office, make a call. Okay? And at the very most, I mean, you can always say, I really need a timeout. I really need a timeout. I need a moment to think this over. Okay? Because, I'm starting to see, as jobs become more and more scarce, you know, the workplace is becoming more and more volatile. Okay? People are pushing buttons. Okay? People are throwing people under the bus. Okay? It's self-preservation in a very sick way. Okay? But you have to be bigger than that. You know? I mean, through the centuries, we have overcome so much. You know, and there are factors or factions out there that realize that, and it just gets their goat. Makes them so upset. You know, it upsets them that, you know, every time they go to a game, they're essentially playing to watch black people play. You know, it gets their goat that every time that they go to a concert, 9 times out of 10 it's to see a black person, or they're giving their kids money to go see a black person in concert. It gets their goat. It does. You know, all of their rock stars are gone. Retirees. Walking around in wheelchairs talking about, oh yeah, I can still sing that song. I know that song that you like. I can still sing it. Okay. The world, due to the internet, has become global. Okay. And as we well know, is Europe, real small part of that whole global thing. Okay? There's a whole bunch of other people, different hues and colors and everything else. It gets their goat! It really does. You know? So, if that gives you solace through your day, that it gets their goat, let that be it. But what I want from you, the watchers of my show, Real Talk, I want you to keep it real. Okay? Don't let nobody force you out of something that you worked hard to get to. Okay? Don't let someone, just out of spite, take the food out of you or your child's mouth. Okay? Don't let them take that roof from over your head. Okay? Deal with it until something comes along that is more to your liking. As I like to say, adjust your lifestyle. Okay? Through the years, there is nothing that we cannot overcome. We've learned that. We have learned that. No, we don't get the 40 acres in the mule. It's not happening. Okay? And they're not going to let us sell cigarettes like the Indians. Not going to happen. And we're not getting casinos like the Indians. Not going to happen. Okay? We ain't getting shit. Okay? I mean, plain and simple. We're not getting shit unless we go out there and make it happen. Okay? So maybe that should be the focus. Making it happen. Okay? Making it pop. Making the life that you want. You can take yourself outside of the circumference of what I like to call, I'm not going to say devils, the gray people. I'm not going to say that either. Out of the circumference of the control of the Europeans. I mean, you can do that. It's possible. It's hard work. It's hard work. I just had a conversation with a coworker at work that actually brought this all to light. You guys all remember the guy that was on his last welfare check that printed up the Tea Party shirts or Obama shirts, whatever, and sold them out the trunk of his car, and that's how he sustained himself. However, black people, you should not do that, and if you do it, don't let the news know about it, because that's considered welfare fraud. It is considered welfare fraud. Okay? But see, if you're white, you can do that. Just like that bitch that did well, I'm not going to call her bitch, but the Harry Potter lady. She basically said, I had to write this book. I was on my last welfare check. You're not supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to be out looking for a job, not writing books. But see, that's acceptable. See, that's what white America calls a success story. Us, it's called welfare fraud. Okay? If you're getting unemployment and you decide that you're going to write a book during the time period that you're on unemployment, that is fraud. But fraud in those circumstances only seems to affect black people. Why is that? Okay? So, stay on top of your game. Stay on top of your game, okay? Remember, your emotions are your emotions. Something that my grandfather used to tell me. Only you can allow you to become angry. No matter what anybody else does, at the end of the day, when you become angry, you caused it. Okay? Everything else, brush it off your shoulder. No need. No need. They're going to do what they've been doing for the last 400 years. Okay? It's going to be this whole courageous cat and Minute Mouse bullshit. Okay? But we have to overcome. Listen, you guys out there, my brothers, my sisters, we have great ideas. You got to remember, the whole world grooves to our beat. Okay? And, be it music, being media, being sports, being our style, being our vision, the world moves to our beat. They don't like to admit that they do, but the whole world moves to our beat. Capitalize on that. You know what I'm saying? You become the drummer. You make sure that those are dancing to your beat. Okay? It's not hard to do. It's got to be easier than taking up with bullshit from law enforcement, your work environment, and school. Get the shit done, get it over with. You know what I'm saying? And then, then they can be angry when they read about what a success you've become. Okay? Hey, listen, I just wanted to get that out there. It's been on my chest all day. Real Talk, the show, your host, L. Robinson. Listen, hit me back. Let me know what's good, okay? We're still trying to get this shit done Alex Jones style. You know how we do. All right? Peace.